Welcome to The Competent Man. Today, I wanted to share with you my speech that I presented at the 2025 Cornerstone Forum. This was a collection of thoughts that I had wanted to put together for a long time in order to help spark thought and help inspire action in people that feel that they may have become stuck in where they are. As always, I'm happy to receive feedback, both good and bad, on any of the content here. Let's get to it. Whether you're a seasoned investor, a health enthusiast, or just starting to question the world around you, I'm thrilled to share some time with you this morning. My mission today is simple: to inspire you to take control of your wealth, your health, your freedom, and your future. You are not a passenger in this story. You are the driver. I spent years studying precious metals, health, and what it means to live with purpose. Early on, I didn't question the system I had been given. I saved, ate what the grocery store sold, and loosely followed the news. The 2008 market crash started to open my eyes. Savings disappeared, yet those at fault walked away. Around this time as well, I began to pay attention to how negatively my body would react to certain foods and started to read more about nutrition. I didn't know what much of this meant at the time, as I was focused on finishing my apprenticeship, chasing championships, and building my business. But thankfully, I had good mentors around me that exposed me to a different way of looking at the world and ended up in Lithuania for an entrepreneurship camp in 2013, where we dove into the world of sound money, because these assets sat outside the system that cracks were clearly starting to form in. That's when I began questioning the narratives around me. Much of what I learned at that time took far longer to digest, as this was before the easily accessible world of podcasts, YouTube, and AI really took off. I started to take action and build a life of resilience. This isn't about being an expert. It's about refusing to be a passive recipient of a broken system that doesn't value your well-being. When people challenge the status quo, they changed the game. In 1971, when the US abandoned the gold standard, early adopters who bought precious metals protected their wealth as inflation soared. In health, pioneers like Weston A. Price questioned highly processed foods in the 1930s, laying the foundation for today's real food movement. More recently, during the 2022 Canadian trucker protests, those who held Bitcoin, precious metals, cash, or had a second bank account sidestepped actions that were initially written about by our now Prime Minister to freeze their accounts. Questioning the narrative isn't rebellion, it's survival. Why does this matter? Because the alternative is paralysis. Would you want to be known as someone who just accepted rising costs, declining health, or eroding freedoms? High agency people don't. They treat wealth, health, and the future as things to shape, not to endure. Reclaiming your autonomy from this system takes effort and agency, but it's why many of you are here today. You didn't create the system we live in, but it's on you to navigate it. High agency means owning your choices. We don't wait for the next election, the next boss, or the next algorithm update. We need to take personal responsibility, not because the hand we have been dealt is our fault, but because we understand the future is our problem. I have met and been exposed to many people in the 5 years of hosting Palisades Gold Radio. I remember an early guest of the show told me that gold and silver are a gateway to understanding the world, and this has always stuck with me. When you start questioning the narrative, holes in our reality start to show up everywhere. The inspiration for this speech came from many of the people in that space. People with incredible IQs, resources, and capacities that have ended up getting stuck. Stuck going down rabbit holes like trying to understand flat Earth, spending years dissecting blurry pictures of the JFK assassination, the origins of the COVID virus, reptilian elites, etc., etc., etc. I've been down many of these rabbit holes myself, and I've made it back to warn you that not every rabbit hole is worth your time, and a collection of rabbit holes isn't worth your life. They're tempting, but often lead to dead ends. We also now have the added challenge of trying to filter out news stories that are woven out of this conjecture and presented as new facts. I'm not here to say to stop reading and learning, because much of this information has some credibility to it. The best rabbit holes are often sprinkled with credible information. A good example of this is the recent Canadian federal election. Immediately after the results came in, I saw people start to say that it was stolen, that the way the election maps were redrawn achieved this or that, and to start to send access to information requests to the government. In my opinion, we need to focus on dealing with the world we have, not the idealized version of the world we want. We can't escape going down these rabbit holes completely, but I think the best way to deal with them is to use the 80-20 principle, focusing on the 20% of the knowledge that delivers us 80% of the results. Let's get the juice that's worth the squeeze and get back to living and enjoying our lives, rather than falling into the traps that have been set for us. Being able to refocus on what makes our lives worth living is a big part of taking back your agency. Removing the distraction of chasing rabbit holes can also help us get perspective on the bigger picture and forces at play. The next step is taking action. Did any of us in this room fully understand what our world would look like for the next 3 years in January of 2020? I would bet that this was an evolving process of understanding for every one of us. Did you think that the purchasing power of your currency was going to fall in the last 5 years by anywhere from 20 to 50%? Did you think that if you donated to the truckers, that your bank accounts could be frozen? How about being stopped from being able to access your gym, travel destinations, or even family dinners? My point about this is to say that none of us are any good at predicting the future. However, by taking relatively simple actions, we can be ready for the most amount of possibilities that can be thrown at us. Learn useful skills, save for tomorrow in something other than fiat dollars, look at getting a second residency, and make learning a passion. Taking action isn't about being a Wall Street guru or a fitness fanatic. It's about consistent, deliberate, small steps. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman emphasizes discipline. Aim for 1% better every day. Walk for 10 minutes. Read the next 5 pages of a book. Invest a couple dollars per paycheck. James Clear's Atomic Habits shows us that this has an incredible compounding effect. 1% daily improvement makes you 37 times better in 1 year. Start by tracking a 30-day streak and watch that momentum grow. We're certain to hit snags along the way like I can't afford gold or I'm too busy to eat healthy or to work out. When you're faced with this, start a second dialogue. Brainstorm 3 solutions. Buy silver in small increments, meal prep once a week, or fit 10 sets of 10 push-ups into spare moments in your day. Act on one this week. Small steps build massive change. The most revered leaders in history have all been action takers. Those that are presented with a problem can unemotionally evaluate solutions to that problem and then take action. Winston Churchill didn't just lament war, he mobilized a nation. He stood his ground when others wanted to negotiate with Hitler. He also made the unpopular decision to fund the development of radar technology that ended up becoming decisive in the battle of Britain against the Luftwaffe. Elon Musk built Tesla, SpaceX, The Boring Company, and bought Twitter to solve problems and to defend free speech. Love him or hate him, you can't deny that Musk moves fast, takes risks, and doesn't wait for permission. JFK embodied a rare combination of vision and execution. As president, he was faced with the Cuban Missile Crisis, the space race, and civil rights debates. Everyone, especially in times of uncertainty, respects leaders who move, commit, and who take responsibility for shaping the future, instead of a soft stance and letting the world happen to them. In a world paralyzed by bureaucracy, indecision, or fear of failure, these leaders are seen as people who acted decisively and publicly, often in defiance of what was considered realistic. We don't need to make world-changing actions. To reiterate, small steps every day are the ones that matter. Steps that are achievable and small enough to accomplish. Here are 5 actionable steps for everyone, expert or beginner. Number 1, learn something new. Choose a skill, learn how to fix something, cook a new meal, or try a workout or activity. You can use YouTube, forums, or books. This builds confidence to tackle bigger challenges. Number 2, verify, don't trust. Challenge one claim this week, like the dollar is safe or this food is healthy. Dig into primary sources. Listen to podcasts or read studies. Build the habit of questioning groupthink by expanding your sources of information and challenging your own viewpoints. Number 3, start taking action. Pick a goal you've delayed. Buy your first ounce of silver, getting more activity in your routine, or sourcing local food. Take one step this week, even if it's small. Watch a metals investing video, do a 10-minute body weight workout, or visit a farmer's market. These actions spark momentum. Breaking daunting tasks down into small steps is the key to achieving the end goal. Number 4, start a second dialogue. When you hit a barrier like, I can't invest, I'm too old to get healthy, instead ask, how can I make this work? Write down 3 ideas. There are many different ways to approach any problem, and the key is to quit putting it off. Practice this weekly to rewire your mind, to start thinking in alternatives. Number 5, quitting something limiting. Identify one habit or commitment that is draining you. A pricey subscription, an unhealthy treat, a toxic relationship, or a dead-end job. The idea of small steps applies here too. Reinvention pays off. We need to start setting deliberate goals, break them down into their smaller, achievable parts, and work on them bit by bit every day. Being high agency means knowing what's worth your time, breaking down big goals into small steps, and working towards them, day by day. If you don't know where to start, talk to others in this room. Build a community around you that can challenge you to look at things differently. This can be uncomfortable at first, but over time you will come to find it invaluable. Part of being high agency also means learning to trust your instincts. If something feels off, dig deeper. Question why you don't agree with what is being told to you. Talk to others. Share ideas on what you're not sure about. I guarantee you're not the only person that is questioning much of what is being told to us. And by discussing it together, even disagreeing respectfully, we can come to a fuller understanding of what we're facing. Inaction has a price. Inflation doesn't pause, chronic disease doesn't wait, and freedoms don't restore themselves. COVID showed us all how fast these systems can clamp down. Waiting for the perfect moment to invest, eat better, or act means we're losing ground. Start now, and don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Many of the problems we face only end up going in one direction. So let's recap. The problem? We're in a world of eroding currencies, unhealthy food, and fragile systems that demand blind trust. The solution? Taking action. It starts with questioning narratives, setting goals, breaking things down into achievable steps, and dropping bad habits. And most importantly, acting daily. The payoff? If you act, especially together, you can build a life of resilience and freedom. Picture this room. Each of us 1% better daily. Saving in real money, eating real food, taking action, and supporting one another. That's not a fantasy, it's a choice. Friends, High agency isn't just for experts. It's for anyone who's ready to act. You are not a bystander in this story. You are the driver, steering towards wealth, health, and purpose. Start today. Question one claim, take one step, spark that second dialogue. It's not impossible. It's achievable. Let's go make it happen. Thank you.